Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to another episode of Not the Droids podcast. I'm Mayuri,
And I'm Danny.
and today we are in the Clone Wars. We're finally in sequential episodes, season one, episodes 1 through 4. Um, and we've said it before, but we're doing 4 episodes because 3 of these episodes kind of are a set. So episode 1 is called Ambush, 2 is Rising Malevolence, 3 is Shadow of Malevolence, and 4 is Destroy Malevolence. So it was very obvious they were a set of episodes. Did they all drop at the same time? When did they come out?
They didn't. So what's curious is Ambush dropped October 3rd, 2008, and then episode 2 of the Malevolence Crew dropped October 3rd, 2008, same day. But then the others dropped the week later. So then we went October 10th, and then October 17th, 2008.
Oh.
So it's curious that they dropped.
Well,
Well,
because this
no,
is
that's not curious because
pre-streaming, right?
this is season one this is season one, episode one and two. So it makes sense because they always do it like when they drop the first episode,
They
they like
dropped
to.
two.
So that that actually does make
Well, because
sense.
I'm also like thinking to myself, like, this is a world before streaming when
Yes,
this came out. So like this was on TV.
yes. I
Um,
believe it was actually initially started on like Cartoon Network.
yeah, so that I think we talked about this. So like I
Mhm.
keep having to like reframe my focus that like this is not a series that
Mhm.
came on Disney
So
Plus.
they
Like this
essentially
came way
dropped with a
before.
cliffhanger because it was like the Malevolence crew, the trio, was essentially a movie split into
Yeah,
three
because we
parts.
like we watched it together and it was basically it's almost 30 minutes each.
Hmm.
So I agree with that
Yeah.
characterization where it was almost a
Uh,
movie.
I mean, it was a
But
movie.
it was really funny because I clicked ambush and it was the end of the episode. Because remember, I told you once upon a time I tried to watch Clone Wars.
And you didn't even make it through episode one.
No, it was the credits of the episode.
Okay.
So I did
You
make through
actually made
episode
it
one.
through.
I think I didn't even try episode 2 because that started right from the start.
Yes.
And I now that I have the context of, all of everything that we have watched, everything that we have watched chronologically as well. So I have so much more context as to where we are in the war, in the galaxy, everything
Mhm.
that's going on. It makes way more sense. I did not struggle to watch this episode at all. I still hate the opening. Each episode opens with like a lesson. Am I wrong?
I think so, and I only caught that today when I was like on episode like 3, and so
I
now
was watching it and I was like,
I want to go back and I want to grab those because you know how I am about a lesson.
you love the lesson. But honestly, I saw it, but I would ignore it because it was not the scroll. So I was like, whatever. I like it like flashes on the screen like it's the episode name,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's literally a
No.
lesson
Yes.
that they then go through during the episode.
Yes.
Um, so the first one, like I liked it a lot. It was obviously Yoda focused. Um,
Because I think we needed to know like where Yoda was at this point, what's going on.
I also like that it calls into question on how the Jedi fight the separatists, right? Because I've mentioned this before. Like, it
Mhm.
feels very much like the good guys value life so much that
Yeah.
it is now their downfall. So the fact that the separatists, so Dooku actually acknowledges it at some point in these episodes. I think it
Hmm.
was in the Malevolence ones, but he acknowledges it. But like you can see it in this episode with Yoda, where he was just like to each of the clones, where he was just like, we're all gonna make it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was interesting. I did not expect back to see Ventress.
Yeah. So, yep. So this episode we had Count Dooku and Ventress, and the Tordarians.
Yeah. Good on them for their moral high ground.
Yes.
Again. And I like that they made it like a sport. They were just like, I am not going to take your word that the Jedi can't protect us. Prove to me that the Jedi are not as good as they say they are.
Hmm.
And if
Well,
you
but then
can,
he was also like, I'm not gonna make someone I invited to my meeting do this. And Yoda's like, hold my beer. I got this.
I accept. It's fine.
We got
Um,
this.
I wrote down like two things from this episode because, like I said, I told you I was multitasking. But one of the things that was hilarious is it's like the droids are terrible shots, and I feel like that has always been such a joke. But they actually said it in this episode. One of the droids goes, "What a terrible shot. Oh well, it's my programming."
I really enjoy and we come across more of it, is these battle droids have such
They
great
know.
banter.
They're
They just like accept these things
hilarious.
about them. It's like great little banter, and they come at these moments where you don't expect it.
No, I don't expect them to be that funny. They are the comedic relief, the droids, the battle droids.
Yes.
And the best part is that they know that they're bad shots.
Yes.
Like
And they're
that
like,
was,
it's not my fault because that's the way they made me.
I was just laughing so hard. And then throughout this entire episode, you just get Yoda's laugh, his like weird, creepy giggle all the time.
It's like his knowing is like there's this point where you're like, is Yoda just like overly cocky or is this well earned and deserved and he totally knows what he's doing?
He never panicked the whole
No.
episode. He didn't, he was just like, it's fine. We're in these like land sand anemones, whatever they are. And he's just like, they can't, we're out of range. And
They're
that's
out of
where
reach. He's like, we're small enough. Just come,
it's
just
fine.
walk on under.
My favorite though is like one of the things that I absolutely laughed out loud was when the droid tried to run it over and then it shot out of its seat. And I
Yeah.
was
He's like,
like,
we can make it. Never mind.
this is funny.
Mm.
And I remember watching it the first time being like, I don't understand what is the point of this.
Yeah.
And the point is that it's just providing context. It's literally every bit of every episode is just adding a layer of context
Yeah.
to everything. So like this is
Well, and it's also showing you that right now they're trying to set up base camps.
yeah.
And that's why they are here, is because they're trying to set up a base to help their people and to help the people of the planet.
Yeah, so like they're not trying to set up a base to take over those planets or that system. They're
They're trying to
literally
work with
just
them.
they're trying to work with them. Whereas the separatists are conquerors,
Yes.
which is why I'm like, I don't understand why anybody would give the separatists any quarter because their goal would be to take over your planet anyway.
Mhm. And then we have Ventress who decides to battle Yoda because she's really convinced that he's not as good as they say he is.
Well, because
I'm
like
like,
what they
we saw how
say,
good he was in Young Jedi Adventures. Like,
just effortlessly. Well, because the way they say it is like Ventress is like our droids outnumber clones like 100 to 1, a
yeah,
thousand to one, or whatever.
well, you programmed them wrong, so that's not going to help.
I know, Jesus. And then that's where the challenge comes, right? It doesn't come from Yoda. It comes from the assumption that it doesn't matter if you're outgunned when the Jedi can match
Yes.
that many. So if you're outgunned one to, I can't remember what it was, 1,000, but if a Jedi can is that one against them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, I keep forgetting we're in this time of the galaxy that the Jedi are just like super prolific, like they're just everywhere.
Yes. Well, they're very prolific in word, but they're very stretched thin in physicality.
Yeah, that's true. So, and they're all generals,
Yes.
which I kind of I'm starting to have an issue with.
I feel like this is my thought on we see them all as generals because we're in the middle of the war and we're seeing the Jedi who would be taking charge of things. So we're not going to see the lower levels very much because you're essentially like thinking, if you're thinking of like army terms of like generals and corporals, that's who you're seeing is because they're the ones in charge.
We're not seeing like the Jedi under them.
Yeah, we're not seeing the ones in training because, except for like Ahsoka, who's a Padawan, because we're not following anyone else's story.
I wouldn't even say in training. Like I think of the acolyte and like the bumbling like sheriff type Jedi on
Yeah.
backwater planets. Like they are not generals.
No.
Um but yeah, so that's where it's like this episode is really I feel like meant to show you what a Jedi can do.
Hmm.
Um
I also feel like that there's a moment with Ventress, so Yoda just straight up takes her sabers, like, we really doing this? And Yoda tells her that she has much to learn. So do we think that Ventress has a redemption arc?
I don't think so. I think she's evil.
I'm curious to see. I'm curious to watch. From what I can tell, we're gonna get her story. So I'm curious to
Yeah,
see her story.
I never even thought about it. I just assumed that she was on a Sith, and this is where it's like I usually am the one's like they can be good, but I've never considered
Yeah, well,
her.
and because like part of me is like, because she has a lot to learn, was she ever actually trained as a Jedi, or was she found to have Force sensitivities and was taught the way of the Sith initially and did not realize there's
Yeah,
another way?
there was a choice. Oh, I'd be curious to see
I'm
that.
just curious to see where it goes. So,
But
but in the
yeah,
end, our planet sides with the Republic so that they can build a base.
yeah, which is good. Um, we said it before we started filming, but like there was no transition to the next set of episodes.
And it's just
It
like
was
another episode.
like they're in chronological order, but at the same time, they're just like completely separate pockets of the space.
Yes.
No Yoda in this episode at all.
Now we are back with Anakin for the most part, some Obi-Wan. We are going to discuss this as just one set. So if you've watched these episodes and you're like, that didn't happen in that one, we're just talking to the about all three of
All three
them
at once.
as a
So
trilogy because
we
they real
watched them
if
at
you take
once.
out the scroll and the end the credits and everything, it was it smooth ran right into the next.
Yeah, so and also having watched them three in a row, I
I can't tell you where one began and one ended. I can
no,
take guesses based on where like moments of the show happened, but I can't confirm that those were actually where they broke.
I couldn't tell you where they broke. I just like let the thing scroll in.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't tell you it was actually, but I'm like, well, obviously they would stop an episode after like Padme gets kidnapped and then leave it there as the cliffhanger for the week because these are being released weekly. So you want those moments where
yes.
people are like,
Oh, we have to come back and watch it. Oh
yeah.
no.
And that's where my thought process is that some of these like moments where like, well, I want to know what happened. Some
I
I I can't say I never. Sometimes I never expect to get so stressed watching an animated show, but I get stressed all the time watching animated shows.
well, I feel like Clone Wars is stressful whenever it comes to Ahsoka because, like, personally, I don't know anything about her story. It's stressful to me when it's all the B characters, but
Yeah.
when you're talking about like Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme, R2, C3, PL, you know where they end up.
You-
So there's not a lot of like scariness
Yeah.
to
You're
me
not
when it
on the
comes to
edge.
them. It's nice to see that Anakin is actively trying to teach Ahsoka stuff in the middle of the war. But my question is, who are the engineers that work for the separatists that are building these like mind-boggling weapons that the Republic has no access to?
They probably kidnapped them like the whole Andor Rogue One situation.
If the separatists are they're the ones with the technology, basically.
Yeah.
right? They have the battle droids, they have the secret weaponry that is destructive. Because honestly, as soon as they were talking about, oh, like it disabled I'm like, it's just an EM pulse. Like, I kind of want to shake them and be like, this is the literal favorite device of anybody
Hmm.
who has a weapon. And I don't know if it's because I watched so much Stargate, but it's very
Probably.
much it was like very obvious to me, which I get because everybody died from every ship before, that they didn't even have any intel on what the process was throughout. So
And like maybe to you this weapon is a thing, but to them they weren't positive
yeah.
what it was. Um, they were, as you could see throughout the episode, is they were getting rid of anyone that had any type of reference of it.
Yeah. So like that it makes sense why they didn't know, but like that was the only thing. But I, this was cool. This kind of shows like even though the Empire has better machinery, like it does not replace the thinkers that the
Hmm.
droids are not.
No, no, we they are not thinkers. Um, we do have a lot of characters this episode. So we're back with Anakin, we're back with Ahsoka, we're back with Obi-Wan, Master Plo has come into play, General Grievous has come into play, and I know General Grievous we will see for a while. Um, these battle droids, one of my favorite moments. The battle droid was humming the Imperial March.
Battle droids are hilarious.
Like,
Honestly,
I
they're the
want to
best
know like the
parts of the
person that was like
episodes.
programming that specific droid, and they're probably like building it and just like sitting there humming the Imperial March. And this now this guy just does it when he's going to get rid of
Well, I
people.
also like the battle droids have such personalities that it's
Yeah,
just like that can't all be in their programming. Like that we know that
they're like the
droids
clones. I
develop.
think it's like the
Yeah.
clones, like they grow. But like R2 has a very specific
See,
personality.
yeah, everybody
C-3PO
has
has
their
a
own.
very because we are aware that canonically C-3PO was built by Anakin. Sometimes, like I just realized it in one of these episodes, is the way C-3PO was talking to R2 is the way that Anakin talks to C-3PO.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's why you, okay, I see what you did there. Because it's like when the door opened and C-3PO was just standing there, and he's like, why are you just standing there? And right before then, um, R2 was finding C-3PO, and R2 was C-3PO was like, "Well, why didn't you find me quicker?" Like,
Yeah, that's funny. Um, I always forget that too because C3PO is with Padme.
it was just like one of those moments where I was like, because it happened back to back, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see
That's
what
why
we're
he's like
doing."
abrupt like that and
Yeah.
expecting. But I will say, before Padme and that whole situation came into play, again, we see like Palpatine and stuff, and I'm like, this man, I every time I'm just like, it's so obvious to us that he's the one.
Yeah.
Um, but like these poor people trust him implicitly. Like, is that the right word? No, I don't know. But they just trust him so much that they don't even question what he asks them to do. General Grievous,
Grievous.
every time he's on screen, I just think of the pirate, Black Bolt, because I'm just like, did someone did some of that programming somewhere end up in his situation? Because it's
Hmm.
like he's so terrible, but when he sees Obi-Wan at some point in these episodes, he literally goes, "Hello there," like
Oh, like
mocking him,
I
mocking
feel like the
him.
writers had a little bit of fun with the because that is a statement that Obi-Wan makes in the future. His hello there in the original trilogy.
We haven't seen that movie yet, have we? I
We
thought we saw it.
haven't. We haven't.
Oh, not on the
But
pod.
the writers,
Know it.
there's little Easter eggs when you have the hello
So,
there. Like
and that's why I'm like, is
we
it
all
gonna
use
be
that
a
GIF all the
thing?
time.
Do they make it a thing now in the Clone Wars that whenever the two of them see each other and it like explains why Obi-Wan does that in the movie?
I think they're just little like, hey,
It's just
check
like
this
such
out.
it's just like certain moments, but this is where I'm like, the droids are the comic relief
They are.
in
And
this
that's also the
show.
reminder that, this is an animated kid series. Not as young as
Yeah.
Jedi. This is like middle school
Yeah, well, it was
esque.
on Cartoon Network, right?
Yeah.
So
Middle
that would
school
make
and up.
sense.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments here was where so Anakin has redeployed himself after like telling himself like no 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 we don't do that, and then he goes around and does that.
My favorite's like when they talk to the clones and they're like, General Skywalker is not here.
But then Yoda's like twice the trouble they have become. I'm like, my guy, you literally took Ahsoka, who had very Anakin tendencies, and put them together. Anakin didn't request her.
Favorite is one of my favorite conversations in this was the conversation between Ahsoka and Anakin, where Ahsoka's like, "So you just did what I wanted to do. So why didn't you back me up in the meeting?" He's like, "It's the way you said it in the
Yeah.
meeting." That's the
You have to follow
problem.
protocol.
You have to follow protocol, and
Sir.
then when you're able to, you can just be like, "I'm going to deploy myself
Yeah.
in this
Sir, you have
sector."
never followed protocol. One thing we know about Anakin does not follow protocol.
That's why it's so funny because she's like, "I don't understand. We're doing the same thing."
Yes.
My other, and this is like fast forwarding a lot, but my other favorite, my top favorite conversation in this set of episodes, and we can come back, but is when Dooku is talking to Grievous,
Grievous.
and he's just like, "We're waiting for you at the rendezvous point." And Grievous is like a child who knows he's about to get in trouble and doesn't say anything. He just stares at the hollow and then clicks it off. It's just like, I was so dead by that because I was just like, can you imagine being a general and all of that stuff? And then you're just like, I don't want to admit what has just happened.
It's like one of those
So
like, sorry, I can't hear. Sorry, bad connection, bad connection. Click.
it's like, uh, uh.
One of the things we do learn in this episode is that Master Plo, who Ahsoka is like, he no he will survive. Master Plo is who brought Ahsoka to the Jedi Temple.
So that's why, because like this also highlights how powerful Ahsoka is with the Force, right? Because she can feel that he's not dead. And I'm pretty sure she talks about that. Like, I feel him in the Force, like,
Like I know he's, and part of
still
that is
there.
like it might be because they have a deeper connection.
Yeah.
Because there's that point where Anakin's like, why do you know him? Like, what's the connection here? Because you're very set on this specific person.
Like, not even the clones or any, like, very
It's
specifically
very
him.
specific. Master Plo will be all right. I'm like, how do you know that? I know him. And like, and you can see when they meet back up is that they have a very touching, like almost father-daughter hug situation happening.
Yeah. It's
And
sweet.
like when Master Plo hears that, so like on the comment, they're like Ahsoka Tano, he's like you see him recognize, like she'll find me.
Yeah. I liked these. It also shows, I guess, like how Anakin is in the war. It's hard to watch knowing what happens with Anakin. To be honest, I feel like honestly, every time I'm watching these, like we've seen the next movie, like just
Yeah.
socially, right? Everybody knows what's coming, and that just makes every little piece of this. So, like, even in Ambush, hearing Yoda tell each of the clones that you guys might be clones, but you are your own being in the Force, and I can tell you all apart. And so
Mhm.
that's where it's like when I have asked this before, it's like, how do you know who's who? And I wonder if the Jedi know who's who because of the Force, right? Like they can feel
Yeah.
their life force. And they're all different. And so it's just kind of like, all of these things, they train the clones, everything that happens with them, they feel so much camaraderie with them. They stick their necks out to
Yeah.
save them.
Well, it's also like any type of person that you'd get to know. Also, everyone's wearing helmets. So when it comes down to it, doesn't matter what you look like. You're communicating with different people who happen to be like fully face covered. So it doesn't matter if they even look different underneath the helmet. Half the time you're not seeing their faces.
Yeah,
And
so
you
and
probably get
this
deployed with like the same group
yeah,
that
well, because
works.
Anakin talks about how they're his men,
Yeah.
right? Like it's very
Like it's
much
his
his
squadron. Yeah.
squadron. Um, and there's a moment where Anakin is set on his plan because Anakin only is taking his own skills into consideration. And this is where Ahsoka makes him a better Jedi.
And this, I love Ahsoka, as you all know. So sometimes I'm like, am I saying these things because I love that character? But
No.
Ahsoka really is the voice of reason.
Yeah, so because like this in this situation was like he leads his squadron to try and take he's trying to take the tower of the ship where Grievous is. But to avoid all of the gunners, Anakin has the skills to do that flying,
The
but
manual, because
his
it's not electronics, it's manual.
but his squadron does not. And
And
that's where she's the voice of reason to be like, "Hey, you can do this, but they can't.
yeah,
You
she
need to
literally
think
says,
of."
you can make it, but everyone else is getting shot down.
Yeah. So it's just like it kind of forces Anakin to be a better leader, to consider all of that, which is like he should have considered it in the first place, but like
Hmm.
he just assumes that he's that good of a flyer that everybody else is too.
Yes. And like he
And so
forgets, and he has a moment at the end where he's like, I caused a lot of lives to be lost.
yeah, and he takes ownership about that, which I think is really respectful, right? Like it's a very respectable thing. But this is where you're also seeing like Ahsoka is not just training. She's also making Anakin better.
Yeah.
The addition of Padme in these episodes, I did not see coming. I did not see that coming. All of a sudden, it swooshed.
When they said Naboo ship, I'm like, oh, Jar Jar's here. That was
Oh,
my
I
response.
was like, they kept talking about Naboo, and I was like, I do not want any of Jar Jar Binks anywhere.
I really
But
thought like I was waiting for Jar Jar, and then you just hear, this is Senator Amidala. And I was just like,
well, so
oh.
they were just like, there's a senator incoming. And then the first thing they say is that Palpatine has sent us. And I was like, again, in the storytelling, how does Dooku know there's a senator coming? And at the same time, the senator is sent on bad intel into the middle of a firefight. And
And
I was
still
just
no one
like,
listens to Padme that like they didn't mention that this in the series, but I just always go back to like she said it straight up in the movie. She was like, Palpatine is behind this.
yeah. But the addition of it was just like comic gold to have R2D2 and C3PO. And that's where it also felt very movie-ish because now it became like not a heist, but like a rescue.
Hmm.
And you have Padme, and you start seeing like Padme and Ahsoka um interact.
No.
I can't remember if they actually did.
They didn't because in my head I went, Padme and Ahsoka would be an amazing pair together. Like, because they both kind of stand on the same principles. Now we're dealing with young Ahsoka, But what I know of like Future of Ahsoka, I'm like they
Yeah. Well,
they
but
would
I mean, they come into the same space. Maybe they
yeah
don't interact, but it kind of lends to the theory that they will interact a lot more in the future,
yeah.
especially because like Anakin's obviously.
That's one of these things that like I was thinking about is that we see very the moments of Anakin and Padme's story skip tons of time in the movie context because it's treated as this outlier relationship that just happens to bring about the generation we need for the
Yeah.
original trilogy. But because this show is in this time period, we see those little moments of like when they're together and Anakin goes, "You'll do anything to get me alone." Like you're starting to see those little like where how their story because when if you watch just the movies, you're kind of like, when and how did this happen? Because when you guys like you're a senator, he's a Jedi, like you're not interacting
But
as much as you
also,
would
like, it
expect.
just didn't make sense. But like watching these little teeny tiny moments here and
Mhm.
there, you're just like, oh, I see how this happened.
Yes.
They are
Like,
in
oh,
each
they've been
other's.
in more communication than we've realized. Like, do you want to hear my favorite line that I feel like we need to incorporate into the podcast? Oh, you are a sight for short circuits.
That was weird. I was like, what does it even mean?
You're a sight for sore eyes, but he's a droid.
I know, but like, your site for short circuits, that doesn't even make any sense to me. It doesn't.
3PO never makes sense.
I was just like, it's like when in all the other shows, there's always like weird sayings that comes out of them. I
Oh,
don't
blaster
know.
bolts.
Blaster ball.
I need to just start making a compilation.
I'm just like these weird sayings from all the shows. Well, my favorite is again these freaking battle droids where they like surround Obi-Wan. And I don't like the roly poly oly ones, okay? Because those are the scary ones. They always are
Hmm.
the ones that kill people.
That's
But
because
my
they
favorite,
actually have aim.
they can aim, they're programmed well. But my favorite is how Obi-Wan obviously dispatches of everybody, and one of the droids just, that's pretty impressive.
It's so great. It's so great. So I did bring some props for today.
No, what is it?
So Ahsoka currently is only carrying one blade.
Oh, okay.
So, and I looked up the phrases that I was looking for last time. Um, so she will end up with two, but right now she's just carrying her one, which in Samurai, because Samurai had two swords, is the Daito blade. Which, if you are a Ready Player One fan, there's two characters. eh, That's a whole. I can't get started on how much I love Ready Player One, or this will be a whole different podcast. But not the movie, the book. The book. I'll even the audiobook's one of my favorite audiobooks out there. So if you need a good audiobook, Ready Player One. There's two characters named Daito and Shoto, which are the types of swords that samurais carry. So Daito is your long sword, and Shoto is your short sword. So right now she is just using her regular lightsaber, which has a green blade. So we're still at. I'm very curious to see when she goes from this to this.
Yeah.
And these are the Clone Wars hilts. So these are the animated hilts. She has
I
new
like they,
hilts for the live action. And they turn white. Her colors change throughout the series. So right now we're working with a green single saber.
yeah. I think the battle droids are my favorite part of these episodes.
I really enjoy them. All right. So our next set of episodes, we're back down to three because we went through and anything that was paired or trioed, we wanted to make sure those are getting covered together. So we are covering episodes 5, 6, and 7, Rookies, then Downfall of a Droid and Duel of the Droids. So I think those will be another pair based on the names. So those are the next three episodes we will be covering on the podcast. And then, please, we don't say this. We're really bad at advertising ourselves. Like, subscribe, follow. Not the Droids
Yes.
Pod on all the things. And until next time, we're not the droids you're looking for.
But we're the droids you're gonna get.